All right, let's talk about project management. More specifically, let's talk about the one document that can literally make or break your project's success. Seriously.
Think about it for a second. Have you ever been part of a project that just went completely off the rails? It starts out great, with a clear goal, and then, a few months later, it's just a confusing mess. Why on earth does that happen so often?
Well, it's usually because one of these classic project nightmares takes over. You've got scope creep, where little extras just keep getting tacked on. The budget balloons out of control. The team has no clue what they're actually supposed to be doing. And all of that leads to blown deadlines and goals that feel like they're changing every single week. It is a total recipe for disaster. But what if I told you there's a way to prevent all that chaos? It all comes down to creating a single, rock-solid foundational document before any real work even begins. You can think of it as your project's constitution.
The official term is a project charter. And you really got to pay attention to the wording here. This isn't just a plan. It's a formal agreement. It's a contract. This document creates a real pact, a promise between the people paying for the project and the team who's going to build it.
And honestly, that's the best way to think about it, right? A constitution lays down the fundamental laws. It defines who has power, and it guarantees certain rights. Your project charter does the exact same thing for your project. It becomes the single source of truth that everyone agrees on from the start.
So if this thing is our project's constitution, what exactly is written in it? What are the articles and amendments? Let's crack it open and see what goes inside this critical document. A really good charter does 6 essential things, and every single one is designed to stop those project nightmares we just talked about. It locks down the core purpose, so your goals can't just shift on a whim. It defines who does what, so your team isn't confused. And this is your absolute best defense against scope creep. It lays out the rules for how to handle changes before they can derail the whole thing. Now, of all those functions, this one is the bedrock. The MOV, or Measurable Organizational Value. This isn't some vague, fluffy goal. It's the specific, measurable benefit the project is supposed to deliver. And the source material on this is super clear. This goal has to be cast in stone. It's the project's North Star, guiding every single decision you make along the way.
Okay, so if the MOV is your North Star, then defining the project scope is like drawing the map to get there. And this is arguably the most critical part of the entire charter, because this is what stops that scope creep nightmare dead in its tracks. And this just perfectly illustrates the power of getting your scope right. See, it's not just about listing what you are going to do. It's just as important, maybe even more important, to explicitly state what you are not going to do. By clearly defining what's in scope and what's out of scope, you manage everyone's expectations from day one. There's just no room for misunderstanding. The charter basically forces you to answer all the big, tough questions before you start. You're figuring out who the key players are, nailing down a schedule, but you're also thinking about risks. What could actually go wrong here? You're setting the budget and defining who has the final say. The entire high-level plan is right here in a nutshell. Okay, so we've got our constitution, we've got our charter, but a constitution is just words on a page if there's nobody there to champion it. And that brings us to the single most important person on any project.
Oh, I love this quote. Sponsorship is not a spectator sport. It just perfectly sums up the role of the project sponsor. They can't just be the person who signs the check and then vanishes. They have to be an active, involved leader from the first day to the last.
So who is this person exactly? Well, they're a leader who brings 3 critical things to the table. They've got the financial authority to actually pay for the thing. They have the political clout to clear roadblocks inside the organization. And, this is key, they have a real personal commitment to seeing the project succeed. If you're missing any one of those 3, your project is already in trouble. And being a champion means you actually have to do things. A great sponsor empowers their project manager. They go out and get buy-in from all the other stakeholders. They smash through organizational roadblocks. They make sure the team has everything it needs to succeed. And they stay plugged in, reviewing progress and giving approvals. They are, for all intents and purposes, the project's guardian angel. So let's pull all this together. The charter isn't just a document, and the sponsor isn't just a title. When you put them together, they create a true blueprint for success. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this. A project charter is not meant to be more bureaucracy. It's not red tape designed to slow you down. It's the exact opposite. It is a tool for creating absolute, undeniable clarity for every single person involved. And at the end of the day, that's its final, most powerful function. The moment the sponsor and the key stakeholders sign that charter, it stops being a plan and it becomes a green light. It gives the project manager and their team the formal authority to start spending money and to get to work. So next time you're starting a project, or even in the middle of one, you definitely have a goal, right? An objective you're trying to hit. But ask yourself this: does it have a constitution? Do you have a charter protecting it from chaos and guiding it towards success?